You're now listening to Unfiltered with Mia, where filters fade and real connection begin. Each week, I sit down with inspiring guests, all share solo reflection for raw and honest conversation about growth, challenges, and the wins that shape us. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a new episode of Unfiltered with Mia. And today, I've got a returning guest. She's back after 1 year, bearing in mind that last time when we recorded, it was a bit of a shamble because we had to improvise the studio.
Yep.
And I needed to make this conversation justice. So we've got Mariah back with us.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad to be back.
Thank you. At least now I can properly welcome you in the studio and give you the whole studio vibe, because last time
it was like a DIY job, but it was pretty good. It was pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I was, obviously the conversation was amazing. Yeah. I was not happy with the setup, and that's me being me. But listen, we're here to make it up.
That's it.
How are you?
Oh, I'm glad to be here now permanently.
I know.
That's what feels great now.
So since last time you were on the podcast, a lot of things have happened over the past year. And I think you are a true story that life can change very quickly in 1 year.
Definitely. Literally met my husband in August last year. When I came out here, I was here for that 1 month just to see how things go, how me and him are, how the opportunities are here. And at the end of my trip, which was like beginning of December, he was like, yeah, I'm going to come to London. I'm going to meet your family because I know that you're the one. So like within 3 months, it was like, we knew that we're basically going to be getting married. I got married in July, and here I am in Dubai.
Congratulations again.
Thank you so much.
So, guys, last time she was an unmarried woman, now she's married.
I am.
Please show us the ring. Oh,
yes.
Nice job.
He did well. He did very well.
Very well. I must say that. So, obviously, now, ever since in last time when we had the episode, you kind of told us about your journey.
Yes.
But I want to know, obviously, from last year to now, how does your work now, is it different? The way that you do things, like what has changed since then?
Yeah, good question. So previously I was working with men and women.
Okay.
Because I just used to have this thinking that I just want to help everyone. I just feel like if I just target like women, I'm not helping enough people. And I realized that was actually a very limited mindset. Because although that sounds like it's a big mindset, it sounds like I want to help loads of people, actually there was something within me that had a fear of just focusing on one area. I was thinking that maybe it's not going to work very well and people are going to question me or whatever it was. So now that I've kind of like stepped more and more into it, and I'm feeling more and more confident into like, because my like healing program stuff is starting to develop. So the more confident I get in my work, even though I've been doing it for 3 years, it's always a journey.
Of course.
It's like now I'm like, I have to go niche, because realistically speaking, about 75% of my clients were women anyway, right? And most of the women that come to me are going through something very, very similar. It's always like attracting, toxic relationships or in a situationship, and finding that they're just never really getting that love that they want. And I resonate with pretty much all of the women because that was me. And I'm like, this has actually become my like expertise. It's like my speciality now.
Of course.
Working with women to break those toxic cycles, so that they can start attracting that healthy, lasting love. I did it for myself. I can prove that now to everyone, and everyone that I seem to work with seems to convert, and they end up attracting the right sort of relationships. So now I just decided, I'm just going to focus on women. I'm going to focus on women. I think the men now can go to my husband, as he's obviously a masculinity coach doing all the men's work. So I just push them over there, and the women, they're my clientele now.
So does your title change now from what you do?
So I'm still a relationship and trauma healing coach, because that is the work. It's like, you want to have a good relationship with other people, you need to have a better relationship with yourself. But how do you do that? You need to heal the trauma. You need to you need to heal the previous beliefs, the limiting beliefs, the wounds that you've got going there. You need to heal that so you have a better relationship. So that is my area, but now it's just women breaking those toxic dating patterns or relationship patterns so that they can attract healthy, lasting love. That's like my new little bio, the caption.
I love it, honestly. And obviously now you are primarily focused women only.
Yeah.
And there is a topic that we both kind of agreed on, because I think it's going on everywhere. I'm a victim of it.
Bless you.
I'm a victim of it, but I'm not the only one. I think most of the women out there goes through the same thing. And if you're not aware of it, so now we're going to make it aware, basically.
Yes,
we're going to talk about it, and it's about your values.
Yes.
Yeah.
Values. Very, very important thing. I think a lot of the time we are going into relationships, we're dating, not really having defined values that are important to us. I think we say like, oh yeah, I want to have a man who's masculine, or I want to have a man who can lead the way, or a man that's earning well, or that he's a family orientated man. Okay, great. But these are quite surface level. What's really, really important to you? And I think people don't have that crystal clear. They don't know what their non-negotiables are. So when you do meet a man who's like, oh, he seems better than my ex, or he seems better than my dad, or whatever, you suddenly see that as like a new shiny object, pedestalizing that person and going against maybe your own values. So for example, we see this a lot where women say that, oh yeah, I really want to be with a person who wants marriage, someone who wants to settle down, who have children. And that's all I want now. I want to get married in the next year or so. That's it now for me. And then they meet a guy who seems quite great. He looks the part, sounds good. He's doing really well. Looks like there are some things that he ticks the box. It's like, yeah, I think this could be it. And he's giving her all the love bombing and all the lovely stuff. But actually, he's also saying that he's not really sure if he wants marriage right now, or he just wants to see how things go. And then the woman goes, yeah, I'm okay with that. Let's just see how things go. You've just gone completely against something that was so important to you.
Yeah.
You've now that's a commitment that you should have made to yourself. So if you aren't committing to yourself, how can you expect someone else to commit to you?
Yeah.
You know, this is really that thing. People say, oh my God, he rejected me. But you rejected yourself first.
I agree with you.
So it all starts with, what are your values? What is important to you? What are your non-negotiables? Once you have those things clear, commit to that and do not break it.
But then why do you think we break it?
Because there's some lack, there's some self-worth, there's something that we're trying to fill a void. So if this person who's in front of us seems like I said, they're better than the previous partner, maybe the old person, the previous person you were with was quite narcissistic. And now this person seems really kind, like just so kind. You're like, oh my God, I've been wanting the kind person so long. And you just let go of all of those things. And you're hoping that you're going to change that partner so that they come onto your page. But we should never be trying to change anyone. And a lot of us carry this kind of fixing thing.
Of course.
Because we don't feel good enough. A lot of us don't feel very good enough. We felt like we had to prove or earn our way into love. And if you think that, then when you do find someone who seems like they're they're still figuring things out, you might come along and think, I can fix that. I can change that. And you start working really hard, just like you were doing before in your childhood or with your previous relationships. You work really hard to try to get them to see your worth, show them that you're so supportive so that they choose you. But it doesn't really work that way. So stop trying to fix, stop trying to change, stop trying to fill your voids through the partner and work on it yourself, because only then you'll find somebody that's actually aligned to you.
Okay. And obviously what I am now thinking, I understand what you mean about that.
Yeah.
But for you, from your past experience yourself or from your client's experience, I'm gonna use my own experience.
Yeah.
Sometimes in my past relationships or whatsoever, at the beginning you hold your values high and you're like, nope, this is it. Take it or leave it. I'm not gonna budge. I'm not changing. This is me. Right?
Yeah.
And you are 100% sure of yourself.
Yeah.
And then as time goes, you realize, oh, okay, all right, okay. And then that little guard up that you have goes down and down and down and down. And unknowingly, you abandon your values. And it's not until you're out of there that you realize, oh, shoot, hold on a minute. I actually forgot myself. Like, how did that happen? You know, like you realize so many little things that in that process you didn't realize. So how does that for you? How do you think it looks like, and why do we do this subconsciously? Like, obviously, it's one thing to be aware.
Yeah.
And again, I'll have to use me as an example. Like, obviously, I'm aware of my trauma, of my what I need to work on, and all of that. And I've always said, as a single woman, I think I thought I healed. But when you are with someone,
This is it.
You realize, hold on a minute, I'm triggered right now.
Yeah.
Hold on a minute, I thought that was out of my, like, that was nothing, like, it was not supposed to come back, basically. So I want to know, why does it happen so subconsciously that sometimes you're like, wait, that happened? I did that? And it's only when you take a step back and you reflect that you realize, damn, yeah, I actually let myself down again.
So you're right. I think when we heal as a single person, that's great. But don't ever think that your healing that you've done as a single person is going to be enough for when you're in a relationship, because a relationship will always mirror back to you what you still need to heal. And obviously that's what happened with you. It's what happened to me. You know, I did the same. I let go of my core values because I saw someone who I thought was the most incredible human. I thought, wow, look at what they're doing. Look at all the work that they do, and look at all the meditation that they do, and look at how they seem so grounded. They seem so, but actually what I was missing was some of the little red flags that were happening along the way. And it's because I don't want to focus on that. I started looking at this person and thinking of all this kind of this beautiful story of like what this might become, because they're showing me all the amazing things right now. And so I'm believing it.
Yeah, of course.
And as a person who, and so many of us women, I think we do that. You know, we're good at heart. We want to look for the good in everyone, and we start slowly dismissing some of the little things, right? That's a big thing, you know, because I'm sure you can also see, like, obviously you've come out of it and now you can see, but they were little things that maybe we ignored.
Yeah.
And why do we do that? Why do we ignore some of those little red flags? It's often because we're so fixated on the outcome that we want to have. You know, focusing on the outcome is the thing that can actually take us away from presence.
Of course.
You know, we want to stay present. And if you stay present in your relationship, yes, talk about your intentions. Yes, talk about the future. But the more you are present when you're around that person, the more you will notice your own energy shifts. You will notice if I don't feel so good with this experience, or actually this isn't aligning, or this isn't aligning. But as soon as you step out of your conscious state and you're in your unconscious again, in your fairyland, then you really are putting yourself at risk. You will start to slowly dismiss some of those things. I think that's a big factor, you know?
Yeah.
Was there anything else that you wanted to ask around that? I feel like there was something more that was there.
Yeah, actually, obviously, I understand. Sometimes, obviously, I realized, and that's a lot of women with who I spoke to who can be in the similar kind of situation. I'm sorry, this is going to look very miserable, but sometimes when you're so desperate to settle down and have that dream life of like, yep, I want to be married, I want to have my kids, I want to have my life, this is what my future should be looking like. And I'm really putting emphasis on should be looking like. That we end up that, okay, if someone comes in our life, on paper ticks the boxes, and even though there are certain things that you don't feel just right, but you're like, he's such an amazing guy, it should work, you know, and you're so desperate about it because you know that, and I'm not criticizing on no man, sorry man out there, I'm not saying you're all narcissistic and whatever, I'm not saying that, I'm just saying that sometimes obviously it's down to compatibility. Sometimes you're not right for each other, and it's life, you know, like sometimes 1 and 1 does not make 2, and it's okay, it's life, this is how it is. But I think that where the idea of your values being kind of almost let go, like, you know, you kind of be like, okay, I'm gonna be easy on this one because I don't mind, it's fine for me or whatsoever. It's because you not only fall in love with the person, but you are like, I am so desperate, I want this to work and I want this life, and I've already project myself. It's the projection of your future. You know?
Love that. Yes, I totally agree. And I do believe this. If anyone looks at their life, right? You look at your life from all angles. The thing that you are desperate for the most in your life seems to be the thing that's the hardest for you to get.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Whether that's your career,
Yeah.
you're super desperate to earn this kind of money, you're just desperate for it, and you're like, how do I get there? How do I get there? You know, and you'll find that it's super hard for you to get that.
Mm-hmm.
If it's love, you're desperate for love, you're desperate for that validation, you're desperate for this future, this life with children and things like that. You're finding that it's such a struggle. Everything else in your life that you're not desperate for seems to work out really smoothly.
Exactly.
So for me, it was definitely love. Love was the thing that I wanted the most and I was desperate for. And when I say desperate, I really emphasize the word desperate because we can all really crave it and want it. But if you have a deep feeling of or a deep belief that I will get it and you're not in desperation, then it comes to you just like everything else has come to you because you weren't desperate for it. You were like, yeah, I'm going to get it. I'm not worried about it. I will get it when the time is right, whatever, and it comes. But when you have that desperation, you go into chasing mode. And chasing mode means, oh yeah, those values, they start dropping off, you know, literally dropping off because you're so chase, I need to get it. And the more you chase, the more you push it away. It runs away.
That's true, because there's actually something I've recently found out, and that was something I didn't know. Obviously, we know the law of attraction, but there's something that I found out recently, and I would like to have your opinion about it. It's the law of detachment.
Yes, I've come across this too.
So talk to me about this and your take on that.
Law of detachment. I don't talk about this very much actually, but it's a big topic. And I feel like, let me let you go first on this actually, because you probably will educate me more on this.
All right. So what I understood is basically, obviously, as we just mentioned, all right, we mentioned about the fact that we are so desperate of it and we chase. It's basically causing a resistance.
Yeah.
Anything in life that you do, the more you chase for it, the more you're desperate. Just coming back to what you said, it's a resistance that you're basically doing, and that tension make it not happen. Yeah, because it's not coming from of a feeling of I know I'm gonna get it, like of reassured, like you're reassured and you know for a fact you're gonna get it. You're coming on a state of fear, desperation, so it's going away. Yeah. So law of detachment is basically a theory. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I'm just saying what I've seen online, and I was kind of reading about it because I was really interested about it. It's knowing that if it's meant to be yours, it will be yours. You've set your intention. You say, okay, for example, I don't know. I know I will get that job. Yep. I know that I've done everything in my possible control to make it happen. Now I just let it to the universe to take control of it, or God, whatever you believe in. And then you just move on with your life, but being at peace with it, you know?
Whatever the outcome.
Whatever the outcome, you're just at peace. And what I understood is that law of detachment works because then you remove that resistance that you have on whatever the outcome is. Yeah. And if it's meant to be yours, it will come to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Love it. I 100% believe that as well. And I also think that for women, that's a very powerful thing because for women, that's also helping us step more into our feminine because we're in a surrender. See, when we're in this chasing thing, this is actually it's very driven. It's very controlling actually because you're trying so hard to control the outcome. That puts you in this overdrive and actually it's quite masculine because you're very focused on logic and like the outcome. But as soon as you go into the surrender, which is this law of detachment, this is always going to work out best for you because you are not attaching yourself to anything, but you are believing in that whatever is right for me will come for me. And that's exactly what happened actually with me and and Adil, because when we met, I was still attached to my ex. I was still attached. And I kept thinking, I don't know. I found Adil to be the most incredible human, but I'm also like, but I'm still attached to somebody else. And I'm like, oh my God, how am I gonna get past this? But what I did also feel was that I might still be attached to that person, but I am absolutely accepting now that it is over. I also have made a commitment to myself that there's no way I can go back because I can't trust that situation anymore. But I am in acceptance that is not the right thing. And what I then did was, I don't know what the right thing is now, whether it is Adil or whoever, but what I will do is I'm literally leaving it to the universe. If it is right for me, then make it easy for me. And if it is not right for me, then please remove it from my life and make that easy for me. And actually, there's a whole prayer on this. In Islam, there's a whole prayer called the istikhara, which is actually exactly that, which is about, literally putting that out there. Any decision you want to make, pray for that. If it's right for me, make it easy. If it's not, then remove it and make that easy for me. And that is this full surrender that I went into. And life just made it super easy. And I can see that every single time people do that, it works in their favor.
Okay, I love that. And how did you... Now, I'm going to ask you to share your personal journey on that one.
Okay.
Because obviously we're talking about values.
Yes.
How did you lose your value with your ex? And how did you... What did you do for you not to lose it when you met Adil?
Yeah, good question. So actually what I said before is exactly what I did. So I was like, marriage only. I just want to find a man who like wants to get married. Like I want to get married soon. Like, that's what I was thinking, you know? And then I met this man who very spiritual, seems very connected, is helping people through trauma. And I'm thinking, that's really cool. So he must be very grounded, must be very, but he did say to me right at the beginning that at the moment, he's kind of like not looking for marriage because he was like new to London, and he was like, I just kind of want to see how things go. Just want to kind of have a good time. And I guess in my head, I'm thinking, I wonder if he's just saying that because he just obviously hasn't met somebody who's like the right person. So I'm just trying to convince myself that maybe this could work. I'm finding reasons. I'm thinking, I think he just hasn't met the right person. And I'm thinking, I think I could be the right person.
Like you could make him change.
I could make him change. I'm thinking, yeah, I'm really loving. I'm really giving. I'm all of those things. I also think he's like great. So I'm thinking, I don't really want to let this go right now. So I've already got attached to this potential outcome. This man who's doing the trauma work, and I want to do that sort of thing. And both of us together, I have created a story. And I was very desperate. I was desperate because I was thinking, my goal before was that I would get married, 24, 25, and then at this point I'm like, oh gosh, when am I going to find someone? And when am I going to find someone like this? So I pedestalized him because I thought he was incredible. I totally was dismissing the fact that he said he doesn't really want marriage and all of those things. There I was thinking that I'm still committing to myself. I said, look, I don't want to, I do only just want a relationship. And I did find myself initially trying to pull away. I did find it. But I know in the background, I was also hoping that he chases after. He goes, no. And actually, he did exactly that. He did actually say, look, I do want to be in a relationship. Actually, I don't want to lose you. I don't want to lose you. What I wasn't noticing is that he's only doing that because he doesn't want me to go, right?
Yep.
So I wasn't noticing like really what's happening. I'm just going, oh yes, I finally got the guy. Exactly. Not noticing that this man didn't want it originally. Now he wants it when I said I was going to leave. So is that him forcing himself to want it? Because he's scared he's going to lose me. So I wasn't noticing these things, you see. I was so in my head about this outcome. But you're right. It was my desperation of like really wanting something. Yeah. So anyway, red flags kept coming. They did keep coming. And I kept ignoring because I'm still fixated on this outcome. And we had a lot of push and pull. We would be in and then he'd leave and he'd be in again and then he'd leave again. And I keep allowing him to come in and I'm acting as if I'm an option, right? One of the big things that happened here is that I pedestalized him at the start and he actually pedestalized me, right? Okay. But slowly with time, I started dipping in. I kept putting him up and up. And what happens?
You go down.
You go down and he starts to see, no, actually, maybe she isn't as great as I thought, and start seeing himself as and then it's like, that's when they start opening themselves up to other people because the woman loses her value when she does that. She is no longer inspirational. I wasn't inspirational. I just come across as this little like, oh, I'm always available when you're available. Oh, I'll do this and I'll do that. I don't have my own like backbone anymore because I'm desperate. Yeah. So it took time. Like through, and that was a 3 years on and off situation. And a lot of people said to me, how are you in this situation when you're helping other women through their healing journeys and stuff, when clearly you can see this for yourself? But I met him at a point where I was quite vulnerable and I had a 7.5 year relationship before that. So I think I was in quite a low place. And so we trauma bonded. Okay. We trauma bonded. So I'm also feeling a bit insecure and not feeling good, feeling that great within myself. And I think there was probably an element of that with him as well. So we both have connected on that level. And that's when I've fallen in love. And so this is when I come back to people and I say, well, actually, this is why that work is so important. That if you know you have trauma, work on it, do something about it, because then the kind of person you're going to attract is going to be aligned. You're always going to attract where you're at.
Correct.
Right?
I agree.
So I was still working on myself in that time whilst dating him. But it was hard for me to let go of him because I was still attached from when I was vulnerable and when the trauma bond started. It was really difficult. So this is why I say do the work. But eventually it reached a point where it was a point of no return. I couldn't go back. And I really then looked at my values and made that commitment to myself and went into surrender. Like, okay, clearly I tried so hard to force that relationship to work out over 3 years. So now it was we are not going to try to force against the universe now, and we're going to go into full trust and surrender. So that brought me back into my feminine. I always wanted a masculine man. And obviously working on those parts of me, those wounds, helped me to attract Adil.
So how did you know what you needed to work on?
Yeah. The good thing is that I've been very observant about how I've been throughout that relationship. I just didn't know how to come out of it, but I was observing what I was doing. I was observing how I was feeling. I was journaling, and then I was reading over my journal like over the past few years, and I was like, oh my God, this is what I was going through. This is what I was going through. So I actually had a bit of a track, I tracked kind of what I was feeling. So that helped me identify like, this is what I was going through. Oh gosh, this is making sense.
Yeah.
As I'm doing trauma work and healing my inner child or healing my mother wound, it was like, oh, of course, he was actually just filling that void. The love that I didn't receive from mum or the attention that I was hoping for, I was seeing in him now and thinking that he's going to give it to me. So I'm like just constantly chasing to fill the gap. So I was seeing that all whilst I was doing the healing. And so that's how I was able to go, this isn't what I want. These are the things that are important to me, and these are things I will never settle for again. Sometimes going through heartbreak is a blessing. I mean, not even sometimes. Heartbreak is a blessing because it always teaches you what you need to still work on and teaches you about what you really want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I agree. I completely agree. So now let's go. Okay, you've started to do the work.
Yes.
Let's say if anyone who's out there, who is going through that same situation, and they need something like not a quick fix, but a tip of like, how do I put myself back to understand where my value is, and how do I kind of try to work on these trauma until I can potentially go and reach out to someone like you for help or whatsoever. But let's say someone is absolutely down, just heartbroken, think that that's it, she's never gonna fall in love, or he's never gonna fall in love, or that this is it, like I don't know what to do, I know I've got trauma, I know I've left my values on the side. Or even let's say they don't even recognize that they've let their values on the side. What would be your, let's say, top tips to catch yourself back up, to start at least having the strength to be like, do you know what? This is my value and I'm going to work on that because I want to stand on my 2 feet and be strong.
Yeah. Yeah. Good question. So I did this beautiful practice last year. And it's a practice that I am now telling the whole world. Everybody do this. Everybody write this down. A lot of us fixate on like the high level things. I was saying, we fixate on, you want a person to look this way. They must be tall. They must have a beard, or they must have physically fit, or, they're family orientated. They want children. These are all very surface level. Yeah. These are like tick lists. They're all bullet points. And although they are important, they're good things, I don't want people to focus on what they want to see in the other person. What I want them to focus on is, how do you want to feel in the relationship? What is the feeling? What is the experience that you want to have? I did this practice whilst I was still dating the ex, and I took him out of the picture. I thought, I don't want to think about him. I don't want to think about my ex. I don't want to think about anyone. I just want to look at, what do I actually want to feel in a relationship?
Yeah.
And what that means is like actually writing down things like, and I also write it in present tense. So I write it as if like I already have it. I'm so grateful that my partner, he talks to me about what he's going through. I love that my partner listens to me when I'm kind of spiraling, or I'm in my anxious, state. He's there to listen. He's patient with me. When we're going through conflict, what I love is that he's He listens. He doesn't shout. He doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't get defensive. He listens to what I'm feeling and then gives me his input. But he also calls me out on things that I need to be called out on. I love that my partner is like this in the bedroom. I love that my partner is like this with my family. When my mum calls and says, you know, I need help with this, he's like, hey, listen, Mariah, you stay. I'll go sort it. I'll go do. These are the things that I want to feel. I want to dance with my husband in the kitchen. I want to talk about children. These are the things that I want to experience and feel in the relationship. And doing a practice like that, writing it down about how you want to feel, this is what's helping you manifest. This is what's helping you get into that state. If you can't imagine it, you can't feel it, you probably won't have it. So I really believe that if you can get a bit more specific about how you want to feel, that's going to help you understand what's important to you. Not just he's kind, he's generous, he's a leader, he's this. No, you need to feel it. So that's something that I did. I wrote that out in February last year. It was like a gratitude letter. Like, I'm so grateful. I said, my husband, my best friend, my king or something. That's how I titled it. And I just wrote about how I'm so grateful I have this man in my life. And it activated something within me. And then I put it away. And I actually never went against that. That really helped me understand what I wanted to have. And I wanted to literally attract that kind of person. Now, when it comes to values specifically, you will know what your values are typically if you've been through a couple of relationships. You will kind of know, like, this is what's really important to me. But in general, if you haven't even been in relationships and you don't know how to figure out what's important to you or what's not, then what I always encourage to people is look at some good, healthy examples that are around you. You know, if you haven't got parents that have had a beautiful relationship, then look at the people that are around, whether it's uncles and aunties, friends, mentors, people around, colleagues. Look at how they express love, how their love life is. Even movies, even some movies. I'm not talking about the Disney ones because that's a little bit of a it's another topic. But even notice where you can see there's a healthy thing. You will pick up what is good, and what you resonate with, take that. Whatever you don't like, leave that. But start to write it down, what's important to you, and then make that commitment. Make it. Stick to it. Doesn't matter who is in front of you, how shiny and glamorous that person is. If it's not aligned to what's important to you, it's okay. Let it go. There will be something that will be aligned. Trust in that. Trust in it.
I love that. Do you know what I like is how you switch the script, in the sense that normally I did it.
We all did it.
When you write, you're like, exactly, I want my man to be healthy. I want him to do this. I want him to be like that. And it's like, I want him. But there was never a part of like, how do I feel with him being like that? Yeah. Because it's funny, the universe will bring you this. But then they will be like, so there you go. This is what you wanted.
Yeah.
Now, how do you feel about it?
Yeah.
You know, you will get what you want. I truly believe that what we say out loud and constantly think and constantly look for, it will come to you. Even if like maybe it's not even meant to be yours, somehow it will come to you.
Yeah.
But then it will be like, there you go, you wanted it, deal with it. And then, let me know afterwards.
This is such a good point, because this is true. You say you really want something, but are you even ready for it? This is a big thing, because life will bring it to you. But if you yourself haven't looked at yourself, how are you going to maintain it?
Correct.
How are you going to maintain a relationship like that? It's like, you'll be like, oh, so he's this person, but who am I in this relationship dynamic?
Exactly.
I think this is a really important thing. And a lot of people say, write down your list of things that you want in your partner and then become your list. That's what a lot of people say.
Yes, correct.
I don't know if I completely agree with that, because I think what happens with people is they get confused. So what happens is you might be writing down you want a masculine partner, but I can't become masculine now. That's not it. But what I would say is write down the things that are important to you, what you want to experience in your partner. Even if you want to write some of the traits, fine. But write down that list of things, and then you become the partner that person wants to be with, right?
Okay.
You become the partner. So some people say, well, how would I know what that is? Oh no, you'll know. Sit with it and you'll know. You know, if you say you want a masculine partner, then you need to start healing whatever wounds are there that are preventing you from feeling secure in your feminine. Okay. You need to do that, because a masculine man doesn't want to be with a masculine woman.
I agree.
That is it. I think this is a big, big issue that we hear nowadays in the dating world, because a lot of women, I really believe this, that women who say they want a healthy masculine man, often it's them that are hyper masculine themselves, right? The feminine woman doesn't need to say it because she's already attracting that kind of man. She's already balanced. She's already connected. So you don't hear them complain about it very much. But the women who are, the ones that have had to be the go-getters, the one that had to become independent at a very early age, they had to provide for themselves. They had to do everything alone. It's those women that are now at this point where they're like, I kind of just want to rest and I want a masculine man to come in my life who can just be the protector, the provider, be the leader, and just help me be that little feminine girl again so that I can just like relax. And I totally get that. Those women have had to go into survival mode, so I don't blame them. That was me. That was also me. Okay. I don't blame them, but it is not a man's responsibility to fix you, to help you become feminine.
Correct.
That masculine man isn't going to even come to you if you're masculine. So you have to look at balancing that. You need to be able to surrender. You need to look at, what wounds am I still holding on to? Why do I always feel like I have to be so strong all the time? Yes, you might have had to be strong back then as a child, but do you have to be as strong right now? Yeah. Do you have to be that strong still today? Is there space for you to kind of relax? Can you become that feminine woman now? Because then you watch how you attract that kind of healthy masculine man.
I love that. I have a question coming to you about, how do you, when you have your own values, let's say someone who's been in her masculine energy, okay, I'm again gonna use my example. Let's do it. Sorry, it's a free therapy session for me. So what I want to understand is, obviously we've spoken about the fact that understanding our values is important, but sometimes, and I've realized the way you approach those values when you're in a relationship may sound like you're in your masculine energy, because you're like, this is what I want, take it or leave it, and I'm not gonna negotiate about nothing because this is me, and almost like, well, if you want me, well, this is my values and this is what I stand for. But then how do you stand on your values but still be that feminine woman that the man wants to have, but at the same time not make it with such a masculine affirmation almost, you know?
Yeah, good question as well. I mean, often when a woman speaks like that, she's speaking from a wounded space, right? When she's like, this is what I want, this is what I need to have. She's speaking almost from an entitled space now, because she's been hurt so much before that she's like, I'm not here to like have little chit chat with you and be soft with you. This is what I want, take it or leave it, right? But you can hear that's coming from a place of pain. That isn't coming from a place of softness. Correct. Or a healed part of her. No, when I met Adil, I've been hurt. I've been hurt a couple of times, but for me it was, I don't want to project my pain onto him, but what I want him to do is to understand where I'm at. Right? So I'm speaking from a place of feelings. I feel like this, rather than you need to be like this. This is the kind of man I want. So either you can be that or be out, I'm not speaking like that. I'm speaking like, look, these are the things that I've been through. I'm actually expressing what I've been through. I'm not bad-mouthing anyone. I'm also being very careful of that. I'm just saying that, look, these are things that I've been through. So I know that I feel blah, blah, blah. I know that I think that what is important for me are these kind of values, I'm not speaking from a punchy way. I'm speaking softly. I'm speaking from how I feel. This is what I've been through. And, these are the things that are important to me. And I would love for someone to join my life and to support me with these things and to add value. We can add value together, and if a person isn't quite aligned to that, that's totally okay. That's not anything against them. That's just not the right thing. But this is what's important to me. My energy there right now was just soft. It sounded personal. It wasn't, and didn't sound like an attack. It was just, this is what's important to me. And, if that's something that's also important to you, then amazing. And this can probably blossom into something. But if it's not, then that's okay. That's okay. We're not all going to be on the same page, But it's just noticing that. Are you speaking from a place of pain, or are you speaking from a place of love? Because if you really are feeling that love within yourself, the way you speak to the other person will also be loving.
I love that. I really love that. That resonated to me.
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah, that did hit something.
Okay.
I was like, right. I was just like, yeah, I did that. I shouted.
One of the things that a lot of us have a lot of self-awareness. Many of us have self-awareness. However, we just don't have relationship skills. You know, we
that's
have
true.
self-awareness about, I know what my flaws are. I know that I've got these wounds and I know that this is impacting me. Okay. But when you get into the relationship, we just don't know how to be in a relationship. Like, what does healthy communication even look like in a relationship?
I agree.
You know, I want to get my needs across, but I don't necessarily realize that a man is going to receive this very differently to if I said the same thing to a woman. You know, we haven't learnt those things. I think these are really important things for people to understand.
Of course.
Learn relationship skills, read books, talk to people, look at those healthy relationships, like role models you have around you. Ask them questions like, how do you guys maintain like a beautiful relationship? How do you guys communicate your needs to each other? Ask people. Don't be afraid. It doesn't make you weak. You know, just because you maybe haven't witnessed a lot of healthy relationships doesn't mean that you can't have it.
Yeah,
So
I agree with you. And I think, obviously, for me, for example, again, me being honest, and I think the audience knows about that, I've never witnessed, my parents is not your healthy relationship. They're divorced, they hate each other, and that's the end of the story. So for me, I've never actually, listen, I love my parents to the core.
yes.
They are the reason why I'm here today, and I'm forever grateful and loving and blessed to be their kid. However, there's that however. You realize that when you have broken parents, it's hard to understand what healthy looks like, because you hear a mother screaming because she wants to be heard, and you see a father being dismissive because he's just pulling back and he's an avoidant, you know? And what is your, like, let's say, what is your kind of recommendation for someone who wants to, obviously you've said, look online,
around,
and what do you think if someone wants to work on their relationship skills and at the same time maintain their value whilst being in their feminine energy? That's a bit of a mix. What would be your go-to guide?
Yeah, you know, a couple of things, right? I think people should read. I actually think people should read. Understand attachment styles. Like you were mentioning about your parents, right? You've got avoidant, you've got anxious, you've got all of that going on. Understand that. Like the book Attached is incredible.
Oh, yeah.
I think a lot of people read it and they're like, oh my God, this makes so much sense.
Yes.
And I'm seeing how I am. Take notes. Start learning about your traits. You know, how do you usually feel in relationships? I think reading is a powerful tool. Listening to podcasts is a powerful tool. There's so much out there on healthy relationships. It's just whether you're willing to invest your time and your energy to listen and to take notes. Because there'll be things that land with you and there'll be things that don't, and that's fine. The things that land, let's take it in. If you really are concerned about your relationship skills, because you really feel like there aren't any good role models and you can see in every relationship you end up in or any little situation, dating, whatever, you keep bringing up old wounds, you keep projecting, you realize, oh God, I'm behaving just like my mum. You know, if you start noticing that, then that's when I do encourage to work with someone because let someone help you. Let someone identify where your pain point is. What is happening there? And look, like I always say, unfortunately, I always bring up the same thing. I'm like a broken record. But we can talk about the problem all day. You can have the self-awareness as much as you want and understand where your pain is coming from. But the actual pain is stored in the body. And until that is released and healed, until you actually work with your body, you will find yourself sort of repeating the same patterns. If you don't do it, you will keep repeating because the pain is here and it's like the wounded little kid. The wounded little child is still with you today. And if that wounded child is disconnected from you, who you are today, then it's the inner child that's going to take over. And you're going to be like, why did I do that? Why did I say that? I thought I changed. That part of you, that reactive part of you still needs healing. So I really do think people, you know, shouldn't shy away from actually getting support, relationship help, talking about it, working on the wounds, but also working on, you know, relationship techniques, relationship skills. There's a book called How to Get the Love You Want, or I need to just remember, I need to get the name for you. I'll get it. We'll link it.
Yes, we'll put it in the description.
We'll link it. That book is gold. That book is gold. I should have said that at the start. Because that book literally has from every single angle of your relationships, whether it's like relationship techniques, as in like communication techniques, how to deal with conflict, like every single thing is in that book and it's very powerful.
Okay.
You know, but again, it comes down to how willing is a person to really like take that information in and start embodying it? Because it's easy to read, but can you really adapt it and start embodying it?
That's a different story. I agree with you. So obviously now I want to go back to the values and the feminine energy, the feminine self that we are. Obviously we've talked about the fact, let's say I've done the work and I know this is my values, okay? And I'm not gonna try to give any chances to any red flags to come in the store and to disrupt this, let's say. How do you stick? Obviously, we talked about the way that we express ourselves, but how would you say, and that is for me something I believe is an individual work, but I want your take on that. Is how do I say this is my value without shouting to your partner, obviously staying soft and all of that. But I want to understand, hold on, I'm going to have to reframe this. What is your definition of feminine energy and being connected to your feminine energy? Because I have a feeling a lot of people think being in your feminine energy is, oh, I'm a girl, I do my hair, I do my nails. But I think it's more to that.
100%. It is, feminine energy has got nothing to do with you wearing pink, getting your nails done, going on little girly brunches. It's got nothing to do with that. Even people think that feminine energy is like just speaking softly. That makes me feminine. No. You could be speaking softly, but very vindictive, very manipulative. Like you could have all of that, right? So no, feminine energy is not that. Feminine energy is about surrender and about receiving, about being in a flow, being connected with your intuition, coming home to the heart. When we look at masculine energy, it's very logical. It's a very go-go. It's very like driving. It's very leadership. It's a bit more about control and making decisions. Feminine isn't about that. Feminine is about receiving and being sort of a bit more in flow and laying back a little bit. Feminine is about trusting, not trying to control, but trusting. You know, this whole thing about the law of detachment.
Yes.
So much more about feminine because you're just allowing things to happen. You have a level of openness, emotional openness. You're not trying to control the outcome. You're not trying to figure out what's going on with someone. Why are you acting like that? You're not like that. You are open. You have an openness and your empathy is up here. Emotional intelligence is up here. It's still very strong. Feminine, a lot of people think is weak.
Yes.
It's not weak at all. It's just open. You're just a lot more open. You're much more relaxed. You're slower. You're not pacing yourself. You're just much more grounded. You know, the masculine has to be in that survival sort of state. It's like, you got to drive, you got to go. You've got to figure everything out. The reason why the masculine needs the feminine is because the feminine is the opposite. So she's bringing the peace. She's bringing the love and the nurture. She's bringing the silence and the peace. It's like the flow, like an ocean, right? When he's in his stormy state and she's in her kind of flow, that's perfect because it balances. It brings harmony. That's why we need masculine and feminine. But if the woman is in that state, that's where she struggles.
So how does a woman, let's say if you have you and Adel is a perfect example. You both work, you both have your own businesses. How do you maintain that feminine energy whilst you are obviously still working, still driven, still working on your own business and achieving your goals while your partner is doing the same thing? How do you make sure that you're able to balance both? Because right now, I understand where you're coming from, but I'm just like, once I'm starting working, it's masculine mode activated. Absolutely. And it's hard for me to be like, how do I become feminine at work? Or how do I surrender? Because if I'm not on my masculine mode, people will just walk on you.
Yeah, I agree.
So how do you balance that?
Yeah. So I think it's a very good thing that you switch on your masculine when you're at work. It's important. In the workplace, we've got goals, we've got to get things done. So we have to go into doing mode. It's very, very important. But when you have that conscious mind and you're consciously choosing to switch on that sort of, I say it's like a hat. It's like you put on the masculine hat, you come into the work, you do that. But it's about, it's okay for me to take that hat off and put my feminine hat back on. Because when I go home, that is my space to to relax. That is my space to be rather than to do. When you need to do, it's okay. Put the masculine hat on. But when you need to be, then, or you don't even need to be, but it's when you want to just be.
I love that. So now I can use my both thing that I wanted to use to kind of merge my question, but I needed to kind of give a bit of a depth to these both things. So we've got understanding that to be able to have a healthy relationship, you've got to be in your feminine energy more and just allow and surrender. How do someone not lose their value while they're being in their feminine self in that relationship?
I think if you're in your feminine self, you won't lose your value. You won't lose. When you say value, do you mean like just yourself, just losing yourself in the relationship, or?
Yeah, a bit of like losing yourself and losing what you stand for. Because sometimes I can know what I want and what I will not negotiate about.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like we were talking at the beginning, is when you're kind of swooped and you're like, okay, maybe. And even if you try to be present and you try to be realistic, but you hope so much that this person is the right person, how do you say, I'm going to trust the process in a way that this is my value and I'm not going to, like, what is it that helps a woman to be firm in her values for not to let go and not let herself lose herself in that relationship?
The thing is, your values are not tied to your energy, like whether you're feminine or you're masculine, right? Your values are just set for yourself, right? That you've committed to yourself. How you might vocalize that to the other person is the bit where you want to look at that. So as I said, like if these are because values are a bit like your boundaries, right?
Correct.
Boundaries are essentially, it's you telling somebody how to love you, right? That's what boundaries really are. This is what's important to me. And like, these are like my non-negotiables. This is like really important. Like if somebody saying that they want to marry somebody who's Christian, but that's a non-negotiable for them. And then they meet a Hindu person and it's like, that was not what I wanted. You know, if that's your non-negotiable, then that's your non-negotiable. And you tell that person that this is what's really important to me. If they're immediately showing those signs that they're not that, then that's okay. You can just end that, right? But the thing is, your boundaries, how you vocalize your boundaries, like I said, I think before, it's about speaking from an I feel. It's from like, this is what's important to me. I feel that this is important for me. And if that's aligned to you, then great. Let's see what happens, right? But if it's not, then I'm sorry, but I don't think this is the right thing for me. You're not saying, oh, bye. You're not saying, you're not it, bye-bye. It's not that. It's just, I appreciate you. Thank you for your time, but this is what's important to me. And I really am committed to that. That's soft. It's to the point. And it also is more attractive because it's like, I like this woman. She's quite inspirational. Men will think that because she's not a pushover. She's grounded. She speaks with kindness and love. She isn't projecting anything. That's pretty attractive. Men love that.
Ladies, you've heard it.
I emphasize how important it is to talk about your values or your intentions, the early stages of dating. I think people are afraid to say it immediately because they're afraid the person's going to be like, this is too much. If it is too much, great, let them go. Because you don't want that anyway. You want someone who's like on the same path. I had the conversation with Adil on the first date, about like, this is where I'm at in my life, I was just freely explaining, this is where I'm at, this is what I want. And in that first 2 weeks that we met when he was in London, literally on the last day before he left, we did discuss about like, I was like, what even is your intention? Like, and that was because in those 2 weeks we weren't really dating. It was kind of like just talking about opportunities and stuff. We were kind of, otherwise if we were dating officially, I would have said it first or second date, just like, what are your intentions? Yeah. What are you hoping for? Is it marriage? Is it this, that? Because that's important to me. So everyone just focus on what's important to you, focus on what's important to you. Stop trying to tick their box and start looking at whether they tick yours. That's really the key.
I love that. And I think that's a good way that we can sum up the topic in the sense that I like, because you've mentioned about us a lot, like you as an individual.
Yes.
You've mentioned about how you felt, how you feel. You talked about what is right for you as a person, not for them, and ticking your own boxes at the end of the day.
That's it. Tick your own boxes. Like, that's how we end up losing ourselves, because we are so focused on the other person and being enough for the other person. You know, when you mentioned about losing yourself and losing your values if you're in a relationship or when you're feminine or whatever it was, you know, if you are losing yourself or losing your values, there is an underlying issue there. It's not about how feminine you are or how soft you are or whatever. It's an underlying issue, and often it's to do with your self-worth and your self-value. So we have to check in with, why am I letting these things slide?
I hear it.
Why am I prioritizing them or pedestalizing them or making them the priority when I should be the priority in my own life? You know, first it's you, then it's others, you know, and I don't mean that from a selfish way, but you have to take care of yourself first, right? If you want this relationship to be amazing, you've got to make sure that you're in a good place so that you're serving this relationship. Same for the man, right?
Agreed.
Men need to look at what's happening with themselves. I think that's a really important thing. So check yourself, make sure you're good, find the channels that work for you, and bring your best self to the relationship. Your relationship is not there to heal you.
I love that. Heal yourself, guys.
It's a big one.
Well, that was a lovely conversation.
It was.
I loved it so much, but obviously the clock is ticking.
Yes, it is. We can talk all day. I know we can.
I know, right? So before we end today's episode, I have two new things that obviously, one new thing that I've introduced since last time. I don't think you were here when I started that, is I started what ifs. So I'll ask you a what if question and then you reply, and then we'll end up with the rapid fire questions.
Cool.
All right. So what if the universe keeps sending you the same lesson until you finally choose yourself? Do you agree or disagree?
I agree.
Okay. What if peace was the only real form of success?
I somewhat agree.
Okay.
Do you need me to go into that?
Yeah, you can. You can.
Peace is incredible. If you have peace, that means you're actually happy with every area of your life. So technically, I guess actually I'm going back on myself. Yeah, I think that is right.
Okay.
If you can get peace, then that's a pretty successful place.
All right. What if you stopped romanticizing potential and started honoring consistency?
You'll be in a good damn place.
All right. So last one. What if being alone for a while was actually your healing season, not your punishment?
100% agree with that. Like 1,000% agree with that.
Okay.
Treat that solitude not as punishment. I don't think anything is a punishment, actually. Nothing is a punishment. Life, if your belief is that life is against you and that life can punish you, then I'm really sorry that you believe that, because you've probably only believed that because your parents or someone has said that to you. Like, don't do this, otherwise you're going to be punished. God's going to punish you or whatever. Life's going to punish you. That is, in my opinion, it is not true. Life is never trying to punish you. Life is always trying to guide you. But if you are the one that keeps ignoring the guidance, which is your intuition, and you keep going into your ego and your fear because you're like, but I really want it, even though it's the red flags there, trust and believe you're going to get some sort of lesson there, and you're going to hurt. And life will keep showing you not to punish you, but because it's trying to wake you up, and you will only wake up when it's like a bit of a nightmare, right?
Yeah.
It needs to be a shock enough.
Oh yeah.
And keep watching it, right? If it was light the first time and you still ignored it, it will be a bit heavier the next time. If you still ignore it, it will be heavier. And you keep thinking life is so against me. Life is not against you. Life is trying to wake you up, guide you to a better place. So I would 100% agree with that one.
Yeah, because guys, it's been a journey for me.
And me.
All right, let's go to rapid fire questions.
Okay.
All right. One non-negotiable value you live by now.
I'm not being very rapid, am I? One non-negotiable
value you live by now.
Respect.
Okay. Something you'll never compromise on again.
My own values.
Okay. A red flag you'll never ignore.
Physical abuse.
A green flag in yourself you're most proud of.
I think I'm pretty feminine.
What brings you instant peace?
My husband.
Oh, bless.
No, he really is my peace.
Oh, bless. One lesson you had to learn the hard way.
Gotta stop chasing love, huh? We gotta start attracting it.
Would you rather be loved or respected?
Respected.
When was the last time you followed your gut and it paid off?
The last time. I feel like I'm doing that quite often, but a big one was my marriage. I followed my gut with that and it really paid off. Sometimes I'm like, how? And I'm just very, very grateful.
I love that. One boundary that changed your life?
One boundary that changed my life. I guess it was actually a boundary I had with myself, and that was choosing myself. It was really not allowing anybody else to remove me from that. If you are taking me away from me choosing myself, that is not okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. And we'll finish with the last one. Finish the sentence. When a woman commits to her value, she becomes...
Magnetic.
I love it. Maria, thank you so much.
Oh my God, thank you. I love it. I love it. I love it every time.
I know. It's been such a pleasure.
Honestly.
Thank you for the free therapy.
My God, no, listen, anytime, girl. Let's go. We can always talk about these things. It's like my passion. So
I love it so much. And it's been a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much.
And I look forward to have you again anytime you want.
Oh, bless you.
We'll
Thank
find
you.
another topic, guys. Don't worry.
There's
We always
always
find topics with Maria.
This is true.
That's one thing we have in common. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was my pleasure to have you on board.
It was my pleasure to be here.
And
Thank
I
you so
can't
much for just being a wonderful host. You're so good with your questions. I'm like, oh, getting me on my toes.
Thank you so much. And I'll see you very soon.
Yeah, see you soon.
On that note, I'm going to love you and leave you. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.